Good afternoon, everyone. We're live on YouTube. Just want to point out that fact as you come into the room, and you are on mute status until we go off YouTube. Then I'll give you an opportunity to ask questions. We'll get started here in about 2 more minutes there. Thanks for coming in. Good afternoon. My name is Mark. I'm one of the founders of GovDirections, and here this afternoon to give you a presentation about RFP Delivery and GovDirections and our services. And I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I'll say hello here, but we'll try to focus in on the screen. I'm going to spend about 20 minutes with you. We are live on YouTube, and I just like to point that out. So if you got any questions, you'll be recorded. If you're going to hold the questions to the end, I will then go in and exit YouTube so we can talk one on one about any questions you might have uh, today. So here we are, and I usually like to give everybody just another minute to get into the room. And just to make sure everybody can get through on Zoom. Sometimes it creates little issues if you haven't updated lately with the process. But thank you for those joining us on YouTube Live. If you want to subscribe, just click below and subscribe. It'll alert you when there's a new Gov School class or a Gov Directions class. And today we're going to talk about the powerful tools of RFP delivery. I want to just kind of walk you through some things, make sure you're fully aware of those. This particular session is for newer users, and we appreciate you giving us a shot and talking with us and check us out. And glad you're here today. But now we're at 4:31. I really like to always start off with this slide here when we first start, because this is really how we were founded back in 1998. And we decided to enter the marketplace and offer a solution to the fragmented system that exists in the local, state, and federal government contracting marketplace. It's a huge market now, some 7 trillion, I believe, in potential opportunities for our clients and others. And but it's a system that is where information just flows everywhere. It's not broken by any means. It's built that way. We like to keep our decision making as localized as possible, referred to as a home rule philosophy, and that philosophy drives the decision making of who's going to spend money and how it's going to be spent to the local county commissioners and city council members and school board members, and from cities and counties and special districts of all kinds. There's hospital boards, airport boards, parks and systems, transit operations, and of course our federal government, and such as the Defense Logistics Agency, WAR, one of the largest procurement buying office in the world, and the gold standard, in fact. But all of them, one of the things they have in common is that information just flows everywhere. Some probably 100,000 different locations where you can actually pull bids at each stage. So that is a business problem. It's just not necessarily cost effective for you to spend all that time go out there tracking. So we stepped in with a business solution, and we pull that information. So I use a puzzle box to kind of show our purpose. Those agencies, they issue about 5,000 calls for business proposals every single day. This information is flowing constantly. And when we pull them together, those like a puzzle box, it starts making sense to you. Otherwise, it can be somewhat unwieldy. Now, what we do is we bring this information in every day, primarily to our rfpdelivery.com site. And at RFP Delivery, we have a one-stop solution for bids, no matter where they're located or what portal they potentially could be using. And so when you're there, the primary objective is to come in and allow you to take just a keyword and go in and actually pull out items based on that keyword. Let's just start with a backhoe. I don't know why I want to do that. Sometimes these things just come to my mind. But a backhoe or a backhoe loader, two words together using a Boolean search technique allows you to go in and actually track those bids. And then you can search that and then go out and actually find bids that are specific to that. So I use two words together like that, and it doesn't pull. So what you always have to do is go in with a conjunction of some sort, or and, but or is expansive, meaning either word, and would be both words must appear. So allow you to learn how to actually search in a quick way. Now, when you do the search, I like to point out a couple of things. First, we're not a speculative system. Okay, so the bids actually have to be there, and somebody needs to be is ready to procure an item only about the date that we have told you. This one here is in California, due on April the 15th, that tax day there. Okay. It's not like you and I might go out and, think about putting a roof on my house and get some quotes and never go through with it. But here, governments go through that decision-making process. So they're at the end of that stage, and they're going to actively pursue that. The second thing is our system at RFP Delivery, GovDirections, we don't work with any specific government. We are a source that works on behalf of our membership. You support us, and that allows us to have an arm's length transaction. We don't sit and wait for governments to actually publish. Our team is aggressively collecting those. It's not that we dislike governments. I would say about 80% of our bids that are posted come directly from a government in some way, to an API, some sort of method where they're giving us to provide information, trying to reach our audience. Some 140,000 of you have registered proactively, and you're using our system in some way to learn about those bids and proposals each day. And so I like to point that out because so that we have an interest in serving you and not necessarily the government agency. And so we're publishing a lot more information. We're learning about that through their budgets and through their meetings and so forth, agendas and minutes of meetings, and a lot of different places that we're telling you about the business. And then the final thing is, it doesn't matter how far down you go, everything is still active, and you got to be careful about that. A lot of services, you get past the first few of those, they're all expired. And while we do have award information, we don't focus in on expired bids. That doesn't really serve your purpose of really trying to track in new information, new bids out there. So happens, you find one of these that you have an interest in, you can step into it, and when you actually tap into it, at that point opens up into a common portal window that will allow you to find out information about that bid. First, we'll give you the title, a stage of this cycle. If it's a federal solicitation, local governments, not necessarily, and state governments don't have those different solicitations at levels, so combined synopsis solicitation potentially, or but source of salt, or potential, pre-solicitation, things like that you hear. But at the federal level, they do. So we give you the stage, and then at local government, we just tell you this is the local government contract. Each of those has a external link. This is where the actual information is located, where you're actually going to bid. Where the platform itself, you don't bid in the platform, you're bidding with the individual governments. They want that. They want you to deal directly with them. It's a fragmented system. The due date, the agency at the office level in the federal government, becomes very important. So you know where the work is going to be sponsored at, and where you're dealing with. And then, of course, you have a reference number. If there's a phone number, just remembering that at this point, it's really not calling a silence, and you're not just to pick up the phone and call somebody. And then, of course, you have information on how to do business with that agency. If there's a NAICS code assigned to it, NAICS code, North American Industry Classification System, at the federal government level. At the local and state, they're not necessarily using that method. There's other methods that they might use. And if there is a PSC code, product service code assigned to it, we show you that. A summary of the information, and then if we can provide any competitive intelligence notes, we'll do that. But at this point, what we want you to do is one thing. After you capture it, of course, capturing, basically monitoring your pipeline of bids, but this is something that you're interested in, we want you to leave us. Adios, you're gone. Going directly to that government, you're going to do business with them. No additional finder's fees. We're not capturing you, holding you into our system. We're not going to be reselling your information related to your bids that you submitted, things of that nature. You need to watch out when you're using the third-party sources. You're giving away a lot of rights with that. Whenever you upload information into those systems, make sure you're fully aware of that. When you're here at this point, you're dealing directly with the government, and you're going to go in and work with, in this case here, Mr. Overbaugh, and he's going to be, or she will help you with that process. Documents here, you're downloading it. You'll be bidding. Once again, this is not a bidding platform, but they'll be bidding with a method that they they tell you to use to bid. Now, this is the SAM system for award management at the federal government level. State and local governments will have their own potential bids that you would actually work through. For example, we go in, here's one, but there's a Rhode Island, there's Alberta, Missouri, compact track loader in Missouri. This is in Branson, stepping through, and then you're actually going to City of Branson to bid and the information there, but your downloads are right here so that you can actually work very quickly, move through the system, no matter which agency level or where the information is at for you actually to pursue that bid. Important to fully understand that process. Now, at that point, then the power of the tool that we really have to do is to put the bid in front of you that you have an interest in. So in your home account or the logo or potentially the item where there's a human image, we're going to take that information and put it in front of you so that you can come in there and see the bids that really flow with you. The first thing you're going to do in your dashboard here is tell us a little bit more about your account. We're going to ask you about your UEI, unique entity ID, and your cage code. And once you add that, we're going to link directly to your profile within the Dynamic Small Business Search System. Important. This is one of the most important listings that you can do. You got to make sure it's done correctly, including added your capability statement there and more. And speaking of that, we help prepare those if you need assistance with them. And you can actually come in and purchase that, but also just upload the ones that you have and add those. Very important that you do those the right way and have that document in there. The capability system, primary capability statement, primarily used by the federal level, but state and local governments more and more are you're finding use those routinely. And in the actual dashboard, you also more advanced services. We help you with a drive system, tying it to maybe a Google Drive or other methods which you're going to actually organize your information, including having templates and details there that you can use to actually go through and write and respond. And detail, and also, for example, videos and learning how to use GPT, generative technology to help you getting started in a detailed way to a point where you actually will find we have prompts, the best prompts, how to actually ask the information that you might be to get help in actually writing, along with a lot of data to help you in that process. But that's a more advanced service. Now, in your account, as you go across the dashboard, you'll find that we allow you to give us specific settings. And in the settings, then you can come in and actually tell us what kind of bids you actually are wanting to monitor. We serve 241 industries, and those industries themselves would drive your data that's coming to you each day. Now, there's a lot of coding mechanisms that are out there. We crosswalk those to more common areas. So if you want feasibility studies, for example, you just take that. It doesn't matter what type of feasibility study it is, and governments can use a lot of different mechanisms to code that, but we will make sure that gets put in front of you. You choose as many as you like, cast a wide net when you first start. You're seeing a whole area now. We'll do a session next week on war-related activities of Department of War, the world's largest buyer. And we're looking, rumors are that there's going to be requesting some $200 billion in this next funding cycle to potentially in buying. So it's going to be a lot of activity that wasn't necessarily expected. We were already in the largest buying period in American history. So it's a constant flow of transactions that are occurring. We catalog those for you. And then, of course, you can come in and this monitors that with your app. You can download in the App Store or in Google Play, and ties directly to your account. So you can tap at any given time, see the most active bids. We use a system that's it's real time, and we're adding 2 to 3 bids a minute. So it's a constant flow of new activity for you. You can limit your states, and we're serving just over 72 countries. So that you can come in and add those, but usually tied to the American dollar in some way. Our map sort of draws attention to where that flow is at. And so these are all the active bids that we're monitoring across the world, but usually tied to the US dollar or Canadian dollar in some capacity as you step into it. But that allows you to drill down to the block level of where a transaction is occurring. So if you're really located very close to yourself and you need a particular address, 50-mile radius potentially, then we'd allow you to do that. Your daily alert stored here, turn it on and off online. We send this to you by email each morning. We also store it in a linear way online. And so right now I have this set up for a Canadian customer, but I also have Georgia where I'm located. But you can choose which states that you want. And you can drop down over a period of time and it's stored here. Now in your email each morning, it's going to look and feel like your daily alert, like your traditional email. And it goes out every morning around 3 to 4 a.m., depending on when you have registered into our system. We also allow you to come in your settings and also capture bids, and then you can view your capture bid folder here. We also allow you to set specific filters. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Keyword searches, Boolean search technique. Okay, like I was showing you earlier, making sure you use those conjunctions. And then when you apply them at any given time, it'll show you the last bid first. And that bid will be there for you to step right on through within typically 2 clicks to get you to that original source. Okay, and this is looks like a tribal organization in Wisconsin. So monitoring a lot of different agencies. Now this is where you add your UEI, unique entity ID. If you don't have that, you're going to be you want to go to the SAM registration system in order to get that. And of course, the cage code itself would be driven by this. Just get signed by the Defense Department. As a part of that, when you're in your account, or RFP Delivery here, or individual logo of the human, on the left-hand side, you can search actively, filters on the left, drop down, global search on the right, not hand in hand. Okay, so if you're looking for a keyword search, maybe I was looking for a loader in heavy equipment. Okay, I come in, search that, and I'm really looking specifically for Georgia, Florida, maybe DC. Okay, and every time I add a qualifier, I'm limiting myself. If you add a federal qualifier, you're only going to get federal listings. Save the filters I like. They're stored here. My filters, run them at any given time. Apply the filter, shows me the results. Specific, went through 52,000 active bids, gave me 3 that are right in my wheelhouse. Going in, next click, I'm going to the service here at the location where the bid's going to be bid at. Okay, so moving you quickly to the original source, saving you tremendous amounts of time. And of course, time always translates to money in your account. We give you a lot of tools too. We don't expect you to, what are you going to do when you find it? You got to learn to win it. Winning is cool. And that's what we ought to do. So we teach you. First of all, everybody's favorite, learn how to fish, learn how to tie that fishing knot. You got a GovDirections YouTube channel, hundreds of hours of videos. We're actually live on YouTube Live now. And you can see we're talking to ourselves right here. So they're constantly running hundreds of hours of videos that are available to you to work through and learn. GovSchool classes like we're doing here. Our next class is going to be on war. We were actually planning on doing that today, but I had to reschedule it for a couple of reasons. And to keep an eye on that, we'll send out announcements right beforehand. But we're going to talk specifically about in upcoming major acquisitions and related to defense and spending and war. And so that's important not to miss that. And of course, we also have more advanced services where we help you not only teaching you in classroom environment, but one-on-one. We do things with helping with writing RFP responses, building your capability statement, learning how to price. This is basically a micro consulting platform in our popular services, just getting started writing. Something unique to the marketplace is our experiential writing class, built like a graduate school class where we work with you over a period of time, usually 2 to 3 months, with a goal of teaching you how to actually write the RFP that you need that helps you win. This is all of our services, of course, built on that proverb, teaching you, give them a fish and you feed them for a day. You teach them how to do it and you feed them for a lifetime. And so that's an important concept. Everything we do is in that capacity, but we help you how to organize, how to focus in on indicators of success, what that really means, so that you're not wasting your time on bids that you're not really qualified for. And then you're going after just 52,000 active bids. There's a bid for everybody. There really is. So and that's important to understand. There's been a little bit of a curtail in the number of bidders recently. I think that a lot of chaos potentially at the federal level, but that's actually to your advantage. You're at the marketplace now. Competition has decreased, and you have a good opportunity to really go out there and win a contract. Template development, how to do that, how to price, how to go in and actually respond, keeping things timely updated. This is a very popular service at our higher end level. And then, of course, we have technical writers who work on your behalf, and they're basically as your back end office support. So full 360 approach to really getting the bid out there for you to be able to win. And so that's who we are at RFP Delivery by GovDirections. GovDirections is a wide service. Folks generally like us, and that's a good thing. And we appreciate that. Our pricing structure is very straightforward. no hidden fees, no long-term contracts. In fact, I always encourage you to kind of stay away from long-term contracts when you first start in this business, or if you're new to contracting, you need to get your feet wet first before you lock into something longer term, and making sure it's the right industry for you as it should be. But you want to make sure. So you'll see a whole gamut of services that we offer. So want to thank you for coming today, and those of you on YouTube, we appreciate you um, watching us there. And please like that button at the bottom, and that helps us out